Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Pit with Jeff. Continuation of my dad's Tailorcraft working on. Every time you think you're getting close to the end of your list, more things pop up. So what happened here was I put his engine back in, and we used the well nuts, and the well nuts are good for over a 1/2 inch firewall. His is just a 3/8. I believe there's 3/8 plywood firewall right here. Anyways, I tightened up put everything back in, tightened up the well nuts for the engine, and I was looking at it and I thought, I'm just gonna check this thing. So I gave it a good yank, gave the engine a good old yank, and I pulled them right through. Now, the well nuts that were in there are, bring over here. I think these were ones that I had picked up at a supply store in Brantford. And they're just, I think they're 1032s, but they're shorter. They're shorter than the well nut that comes with the JTech mounts. So I don't know if it didn't expand out enough, but you can see there's that one's torn. Then one of them I was able to pull the end right off it. So anyways, I have other ones. I have the proper ones. I didn't want to screw around with it. So I took a piece of plywood that I had. At the beginning, I'll show you a picture. I don't take this as the right way or whatever, but to solve my problem, in the firewall, there would be like 3/8 holes for the well nut. Sorry. For these to insert, and they're threaded. They're the same thing. Basically, use them to hold on roof racks on your cars and stuff now. Anyways, and as you wind it down, it compresses, and then it's supposed to form enough lip that it doesn't pull out of the plywood. I don't know. It had quarter inch spacers he had behind his engine. So I think from the videos you'll see they were back in here. I don't know if it's just so then if it cut down on the thread length of the bolt, that wouldn't draw it in more. I don't know. But anyways, I didn't want to screw around. So I got a scrap of plywood. And then all I did on the plywood was just took the square, made a center line on it. I used this mount. You've probably seen this one from some of the Mustang videos that I've had posted. So he had, my dad had put hardwood dowel in here with 10/32, like a hole in there for the bolts to go through. So anyways, I just basically took that, of course it was sideways, lined everything up, gave it a quick trace around, and buy yourself, I got these, I believe I got this set from Princess Auto. Pretty sure I did, which would be like your Harbor Freights if you're in the US. Transfer punches. Basically got the same size. Drop that down in the hole. Wrap a tap. Centered. Drilled my holes out. I forget what size I drilled the holes out for the blind nuts. And then took my Forstner drill bit, drilled a hole in the center of the plywood to go over for the pass over for the fuel tank. Took my Dremel, roughed up all around here, all inside on the face of the firewall. And I put a bead of, before I did that, so now I need to get this firewall centered onto the airplane. So I just knocked out his wooden dowels he had there, and I epoxied them into the holes that were in the firewall, left the center holes. So then I could put my firewall. This was just all rough shaped. I took my 2 long bolts right through the blind nuts. I put blind nuts on the back side of the plywood. Bolted the motor mount basically to the plywood. Then with the long bolts sticking through, if this was like the firewall with the holes in it, and the line bolts sticking through, and it has the holes in there, they pass right through the dowels with the holes in it, and that lined that all up. That lined my motor mount up to the fuselage. And then I just roughly went around, drilled some holes, and then just put in I think they're not sure if they're number 6 or number 8, just a machine screw. It's like a wood screw, and to fasten the firewall. And then I just I didn't epoxy the whole thing on. I just ran some epoxy around the outside edges. Anyways, that got the mount on. Got the engine bolted back on. Should be a 5/32 spacing. I remove my back in here. 5/32 spacing should be back in there. Everything's all tight. Just epoxied a bunch of bolts. So that got that solved, and I didn't need the 1/4-inch spacers because basically we spaced it out with 1/4-inch plywood. I just took the polyacrylic, and I gotta still find out if it's fuel proof or not, but gave it all a coat. Made some new blocks, hardwood blocks, and then drilled some small holes into the block. And as I epoxied it, just ran some finishing nails through to help into the firewall, help secure it, and then rubber mounted the exhaust. Same thing over here. Little hardwood block, piece of rubber, screwed that all in. And then I got rid of, because I cut everything off, I roughly did a location on the firewall where his original hardwood block was that he had for the bell crank. Last night I came down, banged out a piece of aluminum angle, just cut up a block, drilled some holes, drilled a hole in there. For the pivot. Drilled a hole in the firewall. I used his, you can see it, I used his original throttle arm because he's just the way it's all bent to clear his homemade manifold in that for his muffler system. Thought I'll stick with that. That solves that. Over here, and then it's just a straight run to the throttle servo. So all in all, that should settle all that down. So now today we're going to work on the wheel pants, fix the crack. Gotta do a little bit of work on the cowl. But that's how we got. But that was pretty well. So I did Saturday and Sunday working on the original, put the engine and all that stuff all back in. Not spend the whole day doing all that, but anyways, put the engine, all that back in on, I think, Sunday or whatever. And then Sunday I gave it a yank and it was like that. So Sunday night I did the plywood. Monday dinked around with it. I think I came down maybe 3 times, an hour at a time, and puttered away on the thing. But, you know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But I think we got that pretty well solved. And we're going to get closer. So I'll let you go on that. I also went out and got a can of spray of, I just bought a can of primer. I called it, it's 2K. It's 2K primer. Here, I'll go for a walk through the bomb went off in here. I got to get in here and clean up. Been doing some other playing around. So I usually get the 2K, but I have to mix it. So I got 1K high build primer. So I'll use that on the cowl and parts of the fuselage and wing where there's some areas of, need to fill some scratches and stuff on that. I don't want to spray the whole airplane with this because I think it will really fill in the rivets. I've used this before. It's pretty good. And then, of course, up in Canada, time you're taxed and everything, $41.80 for a can of paint now. It's just ridiculous. But that's the high build primer, so that'll be pretty good. All right, and then I'll get back to playing a little bit on the Mustang, because once the weather warms up, we'll get spraying on her. But we'll leave her at that. Everybody stay safe. I'd have to look to see what day it is, but all I know is it's Wednesday and I got back from the chiropractor, so I'm kind of hurting a bit, so we'll putter for a bit and then take a break. That's all we can do. All right, everybody. Have a good day.